What's going on, everybody? My name is Ashton, and this is the beginning of my woodworking and resin journey. I am by no means a experienced woodworker, so I'm sure some of you seasoned woodworkers out there are going to have a lot to critique about what I do or what I won't do or don't do. That goes for my resin work as well. Don't really have any experience with it, but we're learning as we get there, as we progress towards more projects. We'll learn a lot more, and we will become better woodworkers. I'm excited. I'm excited to get started on this journey, and I hope you enjoy the process. One thing I do want to apologize about is the aspect ratio of the following clips. I wasn't really thinking about it or aware about the aspect ratio of recording my phone vertically versus YouTube's um, aspect ratio. But I think I got a makeshift solution figured out, at least until I maybe get a better camera. But I hope you enjoy.
Here are most of the tools that were used for this project. Not all items were used, such as a circular saw, and there were also some items added on, like the sanding blocks you'll see later on in the video. I actually purchased my own resin from Let's Resin, but my girlfriend actually gifted me this box here. It comes with some resin, some inks. Here you have some little flakes you can use, put inside your resin, some glitter. It's a pretty cool kit. There's some silicone molds. There's a bunch of different shapes in there. Pretty neat. Here you have some floral designs you can throw in there. There's some little bitty cups. I'm not exactly sure what to do with those or how I can use them. I got some tweezers in the package, and then some disposable cups with different measurements on them. Here are some flakes I actually used in this video. I used the gold ones you'll see later. Some gloves, rubber gloves so you don't get your hands all sticky and messy. These look like syringes. I'm not exactly sure what they are, what purpose they have. Here they have some popsicle sticks for stirring, and then a manual gives you some step-by-step instructions on different crafts. Here's another tool I had to pull out for this next part. I was trying to get my auger bit off of my 3-inch hole saw to put it on my 4-inch, but I was really having some trouble with it. It was not wanting to come out no matter what I was doing. As you can see, I was trying to use some pliers to twist it off, and then I went and got a screwdriver to try to use it as leverage. It was really being stubborn and ended up not being able to get it off, as you'll see.
All right. So, in attempts of getting this auger bit off of this hole saw, I tried using a screwdriver to put it through these holes while turning the drill the opposite way, and that was the result. Completely broke the screwdriver. So I'm not so sure about getting this auger bit off. I may end up just having to go get another auger bit from the store. I really don't know, to be honest with you. So I'll check back in. All right. So I ended up moving everything over to my girlfriend's house. I got everything set up here. So we were just about ready to get started. Now, I did actually go to Home Depot and get a new auger bit for my 4-inch, but the bit is in our car. So we were kind of at a standstill with making any cuts until she gets back, but we can mark our points where we want to cut. I did get a notebook as well. I'm going to start documenting each step. As this is a trial and error process, as I have it documented, I can go back through my steps and figure out what I did wrong and correct them on the next go. So let's go ahead and get to measuring our points and get it all set up and ready to cut when she gets back. All right, so a little quick tip about these measuring tapes. I thought it was pretty cool. So you see how this piece moves in and out? Might be hard to see on the camera, but so the difference between that, so let's say you're measuring from the outside of a board. If you have it out like this, it kind of makes up the difference of the width of this little clip here. Now, if you have it pushed in, that's you measuring from the inside of a board. So I'll kind of give you an example here. So let's say you want to measure from the outside. You have the clip on the outside, it pulls it out to kind of make up that width. You'll really see the difference on the inside. So So if you go from the inside and you push it in, it kind of makes up that difference. So it's about, I don't know, it's very minuscule, but if you need precise measurements, you know, it kind of comes in handy, and it kind of automatically does it for you, so you really don't need to really worry about it. But just thought that was pretty cool. All right, so I'm going to start with my width measurement. So this board right here is it's about 5 9/16. Um, I'm gonna say I'm just gonna go 5.5 to make it easy, because being that we're doing a 4-inch hole saw bit, we're gonna have, as you can see, we're gonna have space on either side regardless. So I think that'll be fine. So what we're gonna do is cut that in half. So we're gonna mark our center point of this board. So 5.5 divided by 2 is gonna be 2 3/4. So we'll go ahead and mark that down. All right, now we gotta measure our length. So we know our length of our cut is going to be 4 inches because of our hole saw bit, but I don't want to cut directly on the side of this board, just in case it chips or something like that. So I'm probably going to give myself maybe a 1/4 inch of space. So instead of marking at 4 inches, we're probably going to mark at 4 1/4. So we're going to need to cut that in half as well. So what we're going to do is we're going to go probably 2 1/8. So we'll mark that. Now we have our 2 marks. Now we just need to meet them in the middle, so we'll have our center point. And I did get a little speed square. Wasn't expensive, maybe a couple dollars at a local hardware store here. So it's nothing fancy, but it'll get the job done. All right, so now we got our midpoint here. So that's where we're gonna put our bit. Now this is not the one we're gonna start with. Since we don't have our auger bit with us, I'm just gonna give you an example with this one. So if we just line it up right there with our midpoint, we'll just cut down and make our hole, our first hole with the 4-inch. But at the moment we don't have our bit, so we kind of are at a standstill. So I will catch y'all when I have my bits. All right, I got my auger bit. I went with this model here because it's got this little locking mechanism. So instead of like screwing it all the way on to the hole saw bit with the threads and getting too tight like that one is, where I can't get it off, what you can do is you can thread it on a little bit and then slide this up, and then those little 2 pegs, they will actually lock into these holes here. This one and this one, or it can go to this one and this one, either way. So it'll allow it to not really get stuck like that one is. So I'm gonna go ahead and get this installed. We'll get our cut lined up and get the cutting. All right, I have my hole saw bit on my drill now. Also have a cameraman or camera woman. So thank you. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna start with the 4 because I want to start with the 4 to make my indention first. So I'll go ahead and show you here. We'll line it up. The mark we made. All right. Now we got our indention. We actually have our pilot hole here. So what I'm gonna switch to the 3 now, because I didn't want to cut this all the way through, because then it would be left with just a small circle that I'd have to use. I have to use a 3-inch on that small circle rather than having this big board to play with. So now I'm going to cut all the way through with the 3, and once I have the 3 cut all the way, then I'll come back and cut all the way with the 4. All right, so let's go ahead and cut all the way through with the 3. All right. So now I can go and go back with the 4 and finish out the cut. Alright, so this is the product after the cut. You can see it's got some chips that we need to take off, like on the sides here, and there's a big one right there. But once we get some sandpaper on it, sand the inside, the outside, the top, the bottom, it should be ready to start pouring our resin. So I'm gonna go. I'm gonna get it sanded down and all that, and get back with you. Alright, I got some sanding blocks here. So I'm gonna go ahead and sand it down. There are a couple of spots that I'm worried about. Like, I don't know if you can see it on camera, but there's got these little chips in it. I'm not really sure how that happened. Some right here too. Maybe I went too fast, pressed too hard. I'm not really sure, but let's see. On the next cut, we could probably get it better. All right, so I got it sanded down. There's still a lot of imperfections in it, but it's the first go, so we're just gonna let them be, just see how it comes out with the resin. So what I'm gonna do over here, I got everything laid out. We've got 3 cups, one for our resin, one for our hardener, and then the third one is to pour, to combine the two to pour it all in there. What I'm gonna do is I got this brush here. I'm gonna, once I mix them, I'm gonna take that mixture and I'm going to just cover the inside with that resin, just a little light coat. What that's gonna do is it's gonna get into all these holes and fill all those gaps, so that whenever we go to actually pour, the pour isn't gonna seep into those gaps. So basically just covering up or filling up all those holes. I don't really know the exact measurements at the first time, so I think I'm just gonna, just for the light coat, I'm probably just gonna do like 1 pump of each and combine them. I think I'm just gonna pour it into this one here. This one's kind of thick; it doesn't seem to pour very well, so I'm gonna go ahead and just mix this one in here. All right, so I got it mixed up. I'll go ahead and grab my brush and just go ahead and lightly cover the inside. All right, yeah, I got it coated pretty decent. So we'll let that dry. Probably, I don't know, 30, 45 minutes. It is pretty cold out here, so it might take longer. But we'll let that set, and then once that's done, we can get to mixing our pour. Alright, so we're going to go ahead and mix our 2 A and B. I got them poured out here. I don't know if it's going to be enough, but if it's too much, it is what it is. We'll just chunk the rest or do something with it. If it's not enough, we can always do another layer. Girlfriend actually has her own project going on over here. She's doing a little Mardi Gras. It's like a silicone mold that comes with the kit that she gave me. So we're gonna see how that turns out. Let's go ahead and pour mixtures. All right, I got it mixed up. I got these gold flakes I'm gonna put in it. It's gonna be like a clear resin with gold flakes all in between it. I'm not sure how it's gonna turn out. We're gonna see. What I'm also not sure about is if I need to put the flakes in the cup here and mix it up, or do I pour it and then gradually add the flakes. I'm gonna try just putting it in here just to mix it up and see how that turns out. My concern is that all the flakes, what's gonna happen is they're just gonna kind of float to the bottom. So we're gonna see what happens. Alright, so this is what it looks like. Looks pretty good. There's a lot of air bubbles in there. I don't know if I didn't mix it enough, but we're just gonna go ahead and pour it and see what happens. Oh, by the way, this material here, I did a quick Google search on like what materials you can pour on, and it said like, silicon's good, or any like kind of plastic material like a garbage bag. I was gonna use a garbage bag, but my girlfriend actually had a whole roll of this stuff, so we're gonna try this out and see how it does. Looks like we might be a little bit short. All right, we got it poured, and it looks pretty good, but this is what I was kind of worried about. It's kind of pouring out the side there. I don't know if it's just the surface isn't flat, but we might just end up having to. Yeah, it's happening back here too. I hope that doesn't leak out all the way. But as far as the pour, it was pretty good. The measurements came out pretty well. I did it was like, I don't know if you can see it here, but yeah, 1.5 of resin and 1.5 of hardener. So we're gonna let that do its thing. Alright, so you can see it's starting to form some air bubbles there, right there in the corner. There's some more rising up too, but yeah, right here on the edges. So what we're gonna do is I got this hair dryer. I'm gonna put it on the lowest setting because we don't want to blast it like that, because then it might move the resin around. We just want to heat it up, not blow it out. So let's go ahead and turn that on. You can see that it's still kind of moving it around. Really, ideally, you want a blowtorch for this. But I don't have one, so kind of just using what I got, and it doesn't really seem like it's blowing the bubbles out, so I might have an issue here. Also, as you can see, it's starting to leak pretty bad on the outside. I think I have an idea for the next one. I'm not gonna change anything on this one. I think I'm just gonna let this one ride out. Hopefully what happens is hopefully the outside right here, that all that starts to cure, so that it kind of blocks up the leak, and then we won't have to worry about it leaking out anymore. Good morning. A little quick update on the coaster. It did leak a good bit more overnight, but luckily it did harden up enough to stop the leak. So it's still a little soft, but it's definitely it's getting there. So definitely needs quite some more time to finish up, but we'll check it later this afternoon and see how it is. But I think it's coming out pretty well. Starting to clear up in the middle. You can start to see through it a little more. Alright, about 12 hours later, and it's definitely hard. It might be ready to pull off, but I'm gonna leave it overnight again, see what happens. Alright, it is the next morning. I'm about to pull it up. So it does look like it's kind of stuck to the paper a little bit, so I'm a little concerned about that. So we're gonna go ahead and try to pull it up and see how bad the damage is. All right. So the paper did come off with it, only on some spots. I don't think it's going to be too bad, but I definitely need to figure out a different method for this. Maybe a different material. I'm gonna have to do some research on it, but let's get this paper off. I'm actually gonna go ahead and cut the extra pieces off the side, and then once I have it all the way off around, I'm gonna try to hit it with a sanding block, and because I'm gonna need to sand it down anyway, because there's resin on the bottom of this, so we'll try that. It's getting a little better. Alright, got most of the sides even. Just got to get the top here, try to get that off, and try to get down to the wood on the top, and then get this white off here. Almost there.
Here I used a clamp to hold the coaster in place, but I heard it started cracking the wood, so I stopped using that. And then on this clip, I was using alcohol to kind of clear it up, trying to get some of that sawdust out my way so I can see it better.
Alright, it cleared it up a lot, like all the debris and the cloudiness. Still got these two white spots here from this plastic, but I'm gonna keep working at it. But they're being very stubborn. There's one spot down. Just got this last one right here. All right, there is a little piece left. I don't know if you could see it on camera. Yeah, you can see it a little bit right there. I'm just gonna leave it be. There's the more I try to sand it or scrape it off, I just keep making scratches in the resin. So I think I'm gonna call it on the sanding. There's one more thing I want to do to this thing, and I want to stain the wood, just the wood. Try to leave it off the resin as much as I can. I'm pretty sure there's there's resin polish that I can put on here as well. I don't have any, so I'm not gonna do it on this one. Maybe on the next one. But let's go ahead and get prepared to stain this thing and see what it looks like after. Also, here's my girlfriend's piece that she made. I think it came out pretty cool. You can really get some cool designs with these molds. This is her first project, so I think it came out pretty cool. So Mardi Gras themed, if you couldn't tell. Alright, we're all set up to do the wood finish, the stain. I went with this early American. I went with like a darker style stain, so we're gonna see how that looks. Alright, we're gonna let that dry and flip it over and do the bottom. Alright, so this is the finished product after the stain. The sides took the stain a little darker. I'm not really sure why that happened, but I think it came out pretty good for first project, considering all the imperfections and changes that I need to make. I think it came out pretty well. I'm gonna continue to practice and do them. A couple of comments, I guess. I need to figure out a better mold solution for sure, because all that sanding, that was a lot. I know I need to sand it still regardless, but getting all that plastic off was kind of it's kind of a lot and unnecessary. So a better mold solution. Also, whenever I'm cutting out my ring from the plank, I need to figure out how to not chip it. So maybe go slower, not push as hard. I'm not I'm not sure, but on the next one I'll give all that a try. But yeah, I think overall I think it came out pretty good. So all right, thank you for watching. I'll catch you in the next one. I'm probably going to continue to try to master this before I move on to something else. At least give it another few shots. So I will see you in the next one.